Welcome to Classic Comics Cavalcade. I'm Jason Sachs.
I'm Amir Malikpour.
I'm wearing my King Kirby t-shirt, and I got the Silver Surfer looking over my shoulder.
Nice.
Which way is left? Which way is right? Who knows? It's video. And we're talking about Fantastic Four number 48, one of the great comics of the Silver Age from 1966. So, Amir, this is your first time reading it, you mentioned to me.
So very embarrassing, right? Like
Oh my God, it's like you missed the Kirby Bible or something.
sacrilege. I have read obviously other Kirby's. We've actually did a story of New God, the whole New God series, right? Um, I loved it. I was actually, I'm not surprised, but I really enjoyed how engaging the story was. Like I wasn't bored. You would think like people always talk about the colorful writing that Stan Lee incorporates, but I didn't see that. I just loved reading it. It was really enjoyable. I loved about uh, another great thing about it is that we get we jump in the middle of a story from another chapter or another issue, and then that one concludes pretty quickly, and then we go to into another one and what's going on. There's all this mystery, and then we get reintroduced to the Watcher, and then of course the first appearance. I'm assuming this is the first appearance of Silver Surfer, at least
Oh
official.
yeah, absolutely. And obviously the first appearance of Galactus.
Oh, right, in his off-color costume.
Yeah, we got to talk about that because oh my God, it looks terrible. I'm gonna flip on the shared screen because we got to talk about this comic with some visual aid, I think.
Hmm. Oh,
But
what a cover!
right, it's like such a perfect Kirby cover too.
It is, yeah. It's pretty cool. Like the sky is all red. The cover is really cool. The story, obviously, for most of it, you see all these crazy things happening in the sky. Like you get sky of fire or like sky full of rocks, and you think it's because of Galactus, but really it's the Watcher trying to hide Earth. So it's the Silver Surfer, Galactus's herald, doesn't see it and doesn't alert Galactus to come and consume Earth.
Yeah, let's talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about how just awesome that cover is.
Yeah, the reason I mentioned that is
Yeah.
because there's a couple of things. At first, I always thought that what this cover is telling you is like the Watcher is warning everybody. But it could also be that the Watcher is doing some machinations to try to cover up the Earth so that Galactus or Silver Surfer do not see the Earth to come and destroy it.
And the Watcher looks afraid.
That's true.
He's
Yeah.
got that look of fear on his face. I always love the sky, first of all, which, like you say, totally reflects like one of the Watcher's attempts to hide the Earth. And then all the people on the roofs just looking terrified.
Hmm.
I mean, Kirby wasn't well known for his crowd scenes at all, but there's so many people in the background here.
Hmm.
It's just a gorgeously composed piece. Anything else you want to say about the cover?
No, not particularly. No. I like the reactions of the Fantastic Four. They're, like when you mentioned the crowds are pretty generic, except the Fantastic Four. You could tell by their like Ben's all turned around. Sue and uh, Reed are holding each other. Johnny's pissed.
As he always is. I like how the Watcher's legs look a little fat too, to be honest. He's not in like athletic shape or anything. He's just some, giant space dude or something.
Mhm.
Like he looks like he's got an old man's body. I think it's just a nice touch.
Yeah, dad bod.
You could see the Joe Sinnott faces in some of the background characters too. It totally looks like Joe Sinnott's inks. So then we go into the issue, and this is the page that you sketched and shared with me. What did you think about it when you were sketching it or tracing it or whatever? What did you sketch it or trace it?
I sketched it as you could
Okay.
if you see the picture, you know that I did not trace it as horrible as it looks. But yeah, I loved so for a while, um, yeah, I'd go online and there's actually there's someone online that recreates Kirby issues. And but they don't have the skills of Kirby does, and it just kind of like looks like a kid's drawing.
Hmm.
And so it kind of gave me I'm like, well, I could draw like that, and it'll be really fun. And so I tried my best to draw these issues with my best ability, at least that first page. And it took a long time, but it was a lot of fun. I picked this one. Obviously, you guys can't see my drawing, but and consider yourself lucky. But I picked it because I just love the what's going on here. Everybody's like disoriented, and it gave me the opportunity to draw different characters uh, from different angles on the same page. It's such a cool page. I love it.
So you're saying like it's a lot more difficult than it looks like it is.
I don't know about difficult. I just think it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
That's why I just thought it was fun. It's fun to do.
It is a lot of fun. How do you feel about drawing Ben? Like I think his body just looks so just it's got to be neat to draw something like that. Or did you find it hard?
I like Ben a lot. I don't think it's hard because the physics aren't. I mean, one thing about Ben Grimm is that every artist brings their own. I mean, you have to make it look exactly or like a certain way, but from a physical perspective, every artist kind of brings their own. Like it could be sometimes bulky and stuff, and I think it's a lot of fun because you actually can, if you're drawing it and you're bringing your own style to it, you get to kind of show how the rocks look like.
Hmm.
Some people might draw like scale, some people might just be like literal rocks, which I think that's how it's meant to be drawn. I just drew it the way Kirby drew it.
It is a fun page, isn't it? I
Mhm.
love Black Bolt's headdress too.
That's another thing. Yeah, I like Black Bolt's crown, or I think they call it a crown in the book.
Okay.
I also I mean it's just me, but I like drawing Medusa's hair. It's kind of cool. To me, it's like a horsetail type of thing.
I kind of wish they'd done more with Medusa's hair during the issue. And then everyone lands, which I think is just a really nice continuity, right? Everyone's
Yeah,
up in the air and they crash.
can we actually talk about one of the I mean, we probably don't need to go too much into it, but the character that's in green, he doesn't have superpowers.
Karnak.
Karnak does not have any superpowers.
He's like a judo master or something.
Okay, interesting. Anyways, non sequitur. No.
Technically, he has a superpower, which is he knows the weakness in every object, so he can strike it in a way that destroys it in the most effective way possible.
Oh, okay, that's a superpower. Cool, awesome, nice page. This is another, just this whole page. I read them all like when you have access to both of the pages at the same time, it's just really cool to see like all the things that are happening. Like the building is blowing up. It's
Yeah, because these aren't like companion pages, but they've both got so much like dynamism next to each other.
well, they're not companion pages, but they're drawn from that perspective, right? Like I
Right.
don't. Do you think when Kirby was drawing I mean, this is a question. Do you think when Kirby was drawing the page, he was taking into consideration the advertisement, or that came later? I
No,
assume,
he
yeah.
knew pages 2 and 3 were going to be next to each other.
Oh, okay, got it.
Absolutely, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cause us to lose the map there for a second. And then you flip to the next page, and that shot of Black Bolt flying around above that machine,
Hmm.
all the rock and stuff behind it. And you got to give so much credit to Joe Sinnott, right? This would have been so much less powerful if Vince Coletta had been inking it.
Hmm.
And Coletta inked a bunch of issues right before this, but like Sinnott really gives the attention to it.
Hmm. Is Sinnott your favorite Kirby inker? Oh, that's Royer, right?
Well, I think I like Sinnott more in some
Mhm.
ways because Royer really just took a lot of what Kirby was and
Uh-huh.
just emphasized it, but Sinnott kind of shaped it.
Mm,
He really gave the characters a kind of a continuity. I feel like Royer fits New Gods really well, but I think Sinnott fits Fantastic Four extremely well.
mhm.
What do you think?
I think so I only know three main ones, right? I like seen it and I've read other FF issues. Um Coletta, Sinnott, and Royer. Those are the three main people that I watched or read. Um I think Sinnott is kind of like I mean, this is a very simplistic way of saying it, but it's what I want Kirby to be inked by at his best.
Hmm.
Because he's got the beauty of Coletta, like faces and stuff. Like you actually kind of, and he kind of forms it a little bit more, makes it more palatable. And he's got the completeness of Royer, meaning like doesn't really skimp out on pages, and you get to see like, I mean, I don't know if he erased stuff, but I don't think so. I think you get to see a lot of the stuff that Kirby meant to show.
Yeah, I like the way you put that too. Because like the bottom of panel four on this page, like the difference of looks in their eyes, that's really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Maximus looks like he's crazy and scheming and just like his mind's never resting. And Black Bolt looks so serene and serious and regal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like the subtle little bits about the way he inks the eyes and
Mm-hmm.
the mouths. And even the way he inks like Black Bolt's crown, I think it just looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
You catch like the glints of color of the light against it.
Mm-hmm. That's that's Kirby though, right? Giving the little.
Yeah, but like I'm not sure Coletta would have captured it in the same way. Like
Oh,
in panel three, how the line is like thicker and thinner. That's
oh,
that's like a real kind of nuance that I'm not sure Coletta would have had.
that's right. Yeah, that's true.
We're not even at the good stuff yet, but this is also good.
Hmm.
There's Medusa with her hair like you love.
I like that's fun to draw.
That's got to be so fun, right? It's all over the place.
And Medusa used to be a villain, right?
Yeah, she was part of the Frightful Four. I think she looks good with the mask too. Like the mask against the red hair is just a nice contrast. I think they draw her later on without the mask, and I don't think it works as well.
Mm,
Though her boring purple suit is kind of unexciting. But look at that thing Maximus is wearing in panel one. That's just crazy. So Kirby-esque. Almost looks like Rob Liefeld
oh yeah. Oh.
with all the extraneous junk on it and stuff. Except
Mhm.
Kirby can really draw like clothing folds and stuff.
Mm. I like the emblem in the back. It looks like an Atari emblem.
Oh yeah, it does. Looks like he's got a crown or something, or he won a medal or something.
Hmm.
And then this is a case where the coloring really accentuates it too. I think that's Stan Goldberg. I think he was a staff
Oh.
colorist at the time. It might have been Marie Severin, but I don't think she was working for Stan at that point.
Mm.
But don't you think that the use of the pink is really effective there?
I do. I just wish we could have seen how it looked originally because we don't have the issues. But because I mean, this is the I mean, not modern coloring, but it's the coloring on the glossy paper, right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, it's the classical coloring because they changed Galactus's costume later on. The
Hmm.
coloring of Galactus's costume.
Oh, got it. But even like it doesn't look as good if it was like if it was on newsprint, it would be we'd be able to enjoy it more.
Yeah, it looks gaudy, doesn't it? You're right. God, I love Karnak's or not Karnak, Maximus's costume.
Mm.
That stuff on the front of it too just looks so cool to me.
Yeah, you would think that the thing in the back was a cape, but it's not. It's just some backpack, some weird. Yeah.
Those gloves he's
You know
wearing
what it
too,
looks
with those
like?
giant gauntlets that go up to his elbows. It
You know,
makes no sense.
it looks like the thing in the back looks like, you know how like when people, oh, spoiler, it's like a spoiler in the back of the car.
It looks like he's driving like a 1992 RX-7 or something.
Yeah.
Got his face in panel 4. I just love that face.
Mhm.
He looks so crazy. And there's Sinnott, the difference between Sinnott and Coletta. Coletta wouldn't have drawn all the little spaces between the teeth. It makes it more like spooky and weird, doesn't it?
Mhm.
You see the little the teeth there. And then they're gone. Johnny's heartbroken.
How long is Alicia gonna be there with so is this the negative zone or is this their lair?
This is their lair. I was confused by that too, and I was thinking about it. It's not the negative zone where Blastar lives. It's a different negative zone. So it's like Stanley being a little inconsistent.
Okay. Okay. I was curious about. So Alicia stays with them and the thought for me is like it's kind of like you know how like the monsters had like a normal woman hanging out with them.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been actually it's interesting. I wonder if does she end up living with Inhumans for a while and be part of their story?
I mean, Crystal?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Alicia? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Alicia's still back in New York. It's just Crystal.
yeah, Crystal. Yeah.
Right, because she's part of the royal family of the Inhumans, so it makes sense for her to be there. Johnny's
Oh,
just heartbroken because he's, 19 and the love of his life.
oh,
It's
got
great.
it.
I mean, it's like, it's like being on your trip to Europe and you meet this beautiful exotic girl, and then she's like, I have to go to college. You have to go back to college. We're gonna miss each other forever.
Jason, that's very specific. I don't. I
Uh,
don't have the time yet.
not to be too autobiographical here, Amir. Ah, and then we get to where this comic gets even better. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
the introduction of the Silver Surfer is one of the greatest scenes Jack Kirby ever drew.
Now, who do you think owns this freaking page, especially those two bottom?
Oh my God, it must be $1 million page.
Has to be. The next one or your background ain't too shabby either.
This is just such a beautiful piece of comic art.
Hmm.
I mean, first of all, the first 2 or 3 panels with the characters and the passion they have, it's like it is like so Jack Kirby in one way, right? It's so much like the Kirby love comics we read,
Hmm.
where all the emotions are ratcheted up to 11. Everyone's feeling everything so deeply. Johnny's just tortured, but he's also like coming to a realization he has to be an adult about this. And
Hmm.
it's like a really nice moment for the character.
Hmm. You know, that's a great point you bring up. I mean, this is probably obvious to everybody, but I think the experience that Kirby had as an artist in those um, romance comics really lends itself well to the up leveling of superhero comics when they started it.
Yeah, we should do a series of videos about the love comics too. Maybe I'll just put some like do a solo thing and put a whole bunch of images together because Kirby's love comics are really good comics.
Hmm.
People don't quite think about them so much.
I mean, this particular issue, half of it is like in 3 panels. I started talking about, hey, what about Crystal? And, I was like, and I didn't even, and so in 3 panels or 2 panels, I'm like, oh my God, like that's a, that's a romance comic ending.
Yeah.
And then you start with action with like panel, 5 and 6 with this.
So what we're saying is that like this first half of the issue by itself is really satisfying.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like
That's,
it's just good comics, really.
yeah. Six
And then
pages.
it just gets to this whole other level. I mean, so as a first time reader of these comics, what did you think when you first saw the surfer appear?
Well, I mean, I've seen the art. I've never read the comic. I've
Okay.
even looked through the issue. I just have never really read until like today with reading what they're saying and everything. And even but I mean that art, oh God, it's so good. And if you go to the next page, that's the real reveal of like what he's doing. And I love this page. It's been alluded to before, but it's so cool that like um the scrolls are even like talking about it's like, oh, he's like, oh my God, let's pack up. Let's pack up and start hiding. And then the dude's like, all right, come on, we're like pretty powerful in the world. Why is it that like we're afraid of this puny thing? He's like, that's not the only thing I'm scared of. And he's all like, if you read your cosmic history, like is there like a class for that? Like it's you read
He-
your cosmic history, you studied it, didn't you? Like or check. So there's this thing that humans don't have that other aliens do that like in school their kids study cosmic history and like Galactus is in it, and one of their contingencies is like if you see the surfer coming, just shut up and quiet. It's like duck and cover.
Maybe they have like kids songs about it too. Like Ashes Asters all fall down, only Silver Surfer. Maybe
Yeah.
they're telling each other legend. It makes you wonder too if this guy here in panel 3, he's like the bookworm of the group. He's always like going back after his duty and sitting down and reading history books. Which,
He sounds
hey,
like
I can
boss.
relate to that. That sounds like someone I would really want to talk to.
Mhm.
I love history. I love too how this is like really nice, kind of quiet continuity. This is the beauty of having the Marvel universe. You can just have a little cameo by the scrolls and it just makes the drama more
Mhm.
significant.
And quick history without having to drag it out. Like if this was modern day, you'd have three issues about the cosmic history,
Oh, that's it too, right? Because
like a
like all this
miniseries.
stuff starts happening and we don't get this like extended story or anything. We just get it happening.
Mhm.
So I remember really distinctly reading this in like a reprint, probably Marvel's Greatest Comics when I was a kid. And
Mhm.
when the sky catches on fire, like that completely stuck in my mind. It's something I probably dreamed about when I was a kid.
Mhm.
This is just so freaking dynamic and exciting here. Now these few pages right there, had you seen these before? What was your reaction reading them in this comic?
Um, I love the fire. I actually did not know what this was. I thought it was the Coming of Galactus, and I thought it was the Surfer, because obviously I hadn't read it. So it was pretty cool. I was like, that's so weird. How come they're not? Oh, this is comic books. They're not burning up the city. What the hell? Like, this is weird. Like, so fake for little kids. And then, of course, the reveal is that this is all just optical illusions.
Love love the look of Reed's face here in panel 5. He's scared, confused, but he's also ready for action.
Mhm.
I think it's so dynamic. And
I
he
like
like,
that face. That doesn't look like a Kirby face. It looks like a modern drawing.
yeah, you're right.
His
You're right.
face, not
It
hers.
it looks like a real person's face too. Like I wonder if he was taking it from a photograph or something.
Mm.
So it looks like someone you would see. And then this crowd scene. It's like one of the things you think of when you think of Kirby, right?
Yeah.
The half splash there. Oh, and he did this like so many times through Fantastic Four, right? I mean, this is in FF number 9, the first Submariner issue. He's got a panel like this.
Mm.
It's like so quintessential Kirby.
I like the signs. Public shelter, no standing 7 inches to 10 inches from the curb. No parking. That's
the, Such a dynamic scene.
Mhm.
So much happening in the crowd just panicking.
I didn't know you could take out the Human Torch with like water.
Yeah,
And I didn't
well,
know his flying powers depended upon him being flame on.
I think the idea is like the flames make him able to fly because he's.
Yeah, light. Yeah. It makes
Don't you
sense.
love that? That's the word balloon, not the word balloon, but the sound effect balloon there too. The dripping water. That's so fun.
I like that part where I guess in the coming pages, in the next page where um yeah, clobbering time. Oof, I love that's a classic. If this was a TV show or a movie, that's where the Hans Zimmer music comes in, or actually not Hans Zimmer, somebody more light.
I love the Hans Zimmer music, but I know what you're getting at. Yeah. That's that classic hero moment too, He jumps onto the ground and it's the pose, right? Every superhero film has to have that pose.
And then he beats up a guy that pretty much looks exactly like him without the rocks.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we
Probably
get there, I gotta say, I spent a long time trying to figure out the continuity on the bike, on the thing they're flying in the sky. There's so many continuity errors in this page and the next page with that flying thing. And I just couldn't figure it out. Like I don't think Kirby was he must have done panel 2 one day and panel 3 the next day because it makes no sense because like Sue shifts from being behind Reed to being on the right side of Reed. And then it looks like Ben is jumping from being behind Reed, but he's actually next to Reed.
mm,
And then there's stuff on that plane that is in panel 2 and not in panel 3, like the little thing like around Reed's ankles. There's no equivalent of it in panel 3, the thing that goes along the backside. And there's no handle on that seat next to Sue in the previous panel. And there's you can see in panel 2, there's like rear view mirrors or something, or lights or something in the back of it. They're not in panel 3. So it's like all these little continuity errors that actually like took me out of the story for a minute.
mhm.
But anyway.
Hashtag unstable molecules.
But yeah, then Ben and the guy
But
who looks like him.
I think it looks like the diff like this was a negative. Like if you were to take the negative of that panel, it would make sense, right?
Yeah, maybe.
The leg stuff aren't there for Ben's seat, but if you flip it on the other end, it's the same thing.
But Reed's on the same side though.
No, no, what I mean by it, if you take the negative of a photo of this and everything was on the other end, it would make sense.
Maybe.
You know.
It's a trivial point.
Yeah, Kirby sucks. I
Yeah, he's the
agree.
worst. Oh wait, no, look at this page. Kirby's amazing. This is just such a great scene,
Yeah.
dude.
I wonder if he invented that, like the flip. I mean, he probably didn't, that flicker of the finger, but it's just so cool that, like, even to this day, we would all understand what he's saying.
So the thing is not 7 feet tall either. The thing is like 6'1", 6'2", big burly, like this big burly dude here.
Yeah.
Then the plane lands, and then we get more of this just exquisite surfer stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, it's like the perfect character entrance, right? I mean, it's like you can almost imagine the orchestra like just screaming behind him with this beautiful John Williams score or something.
Yeah.
And then what I really like about the surfer in this issue is like, he gets humanized later on, of course, but here he looks like this very strange thing, truly uncanny.
He looks like the Watcher's skinnier, more athletic brother.
Yeah, it looks like something from a completely different universe or something.
Now, here's the thing about the surfer is, and by the way, I think we may need to end it because we're over 30 minutes.
Oh
But
yeah.
um,
Do you,
I heard that Kirby had a different idea for the Surfer than Lee did, and he was pretty pissed, especially for the Silver Surfer series that they made, but also like Lee brought in his own stuff in like from a language. Of course, we don't see that in this issue, but I think Kirby had heard that felt like the Silver Surfer should be this emotionless kind of like not robot like, but this alien emotionless thing. Have you
it's
seen?
yeah, and you can really see it here. That's a completely non-human face he has.
Mhm,
His eyes are just have this cosmic light behind them. He's like this giant unknowable thing.
mhm,
Not even a person, so to speak. He's this creature.
mhm.
And having him be like this strange, unknowable creature, then come back to the Baxter building and everyone's more normal. I just think that's really nice too. I'm gonna say again though, panels 3 and 4, bad continuity by Kirby. The angle of Sue and Ben is not doesn't track from panel 3 to panel 4. If you were to turn, well, I actually maybe she's too far in front of him in panel 4. She should be behind him. It's not as bad as the pogo plane or whatever it's called, but it's not quite right to me.
I like how the thing is smoking a cigarette.
Oh, I was gonna mention that. Yeah. What the hell?
I think the biggest continuity error here is that he's not smoking a cigarette in panel four.
Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it's not as bad of the
Ah,
continuity error.
yeah.
By the way, I love how Saturn is colored green and the rings are pink and red
Oh yeah, yeah.
or different shades of pink. It's
Mhm.
like that's so cool.
Of
Then the
course,
rocks.
this is that famous panel or the previous panel five, previous page. It's that famous page of like the misogyny of the Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. For the love of Pete, girl.
She's all like, "What about me?" Yep, that's misogyny
Hey
there.
lady, just saving the universe here. Shut up and leave me alone.
Pretty terrible stuff from back then. Doesn't hold up, but the art does. It's all that matters.
Yeah, he's a little nicer on this page.
Yeah.
Those rocks too. I remember those rocks so strongly. And then that helicopter up there among the rocks. That's just such a smartly done moment.
And then
And the
we,
Watcher appears.
yeah. I like that panel three on page 16. His face is like ominous. I like that.
Oh yeah. He's got that Kirby style device in his hands. I mean, that's total Kirby tech.
Mhm.
It's just so beautiful in that Kirby way. And again, look, he has no muscle tone on his arms.
Mhm.
He's just a fat dude, fat bald dude.
Do you think they didn't come? The Green Lantern had these little people, right? What were they called? I
The
wonder.
Guardians of,
The Guardians. Do you think the Watchers were influenced by the Guardians, the same type of character?
I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe.
Hmm.
I mean, Green Lantern came before the Watcher.
Yeah, but did they have Guardians before? Then maybe that came later. I don't know.
I have to do some research on that. Let's talk about that next time. Yeah. And then the Surfer, featureless, bizarre, uncanny,
Mhm.
streaking towards Earth. This confrontation is so cool. The rocks mean nothing to him. I always love the way the Surfer just like coasts around the skies too, as if it's nothing.
Mhm.
So that great Joe inks in the background in panel 2 also. We get a full background. Look how much detail there is there.
Yeah. And I like that on panel set or page 17, the last panel. He's actually opening another portal to send a information to Galactus.
I don't think we ever see the surfer with that kind of glowing body ever again.
I like that. That's how, I mean, I see what he's trying to get at.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Like,
not really a silver. He's like actually like a glowing thing.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. His whole body's lighting up there. Right. He's not even what we think of as silver. He's just this, this thing that kind of glows with this inner light, right? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I like how like there's no line for his panties or whatever either. He's just like this incredibly smooth creature. And then Ben knocks him off the building, but it's like, yeah, doesn't matter. Now we got to talk about these next two pages.
Mhm.
And then we get this exquisite Kirby uh just collage.
That's pretty cool.
This is like the most Kirby-esque thing ever. I wonder where he got all these things from and how he put them together.
Well, they used to do collages in like marketing magazine or magazines, right? So a lot of them were collage based. And it's like a skill that, I mean, this is something that I'm sure Neil Adams really excelled at. That was his job. But I think this is the influence of this comes from a lot of marketing stuff, like Mad Men type of, you know.
I just have this image of him sitting there with his Life magazine, cutting
Mhm.
out stuff and saying, I don't know what this is going to all turn into.
Well, my
But
dad used to have National Geographics and not just National Geographics, but also a lot of scientific magazines from back then. And they would employ this type of thing to try to describe, like there'll be
okay.
like articles about like, oh, in the year 1992, we'll have flying cars, and they would do like collages of a car on a city or something like that. And I think that's where he got them from. But it's revolutionary in comics, right?
Oh yeah, no one did any. Really, no one has done anything like this even.
I think partly because it was probably more expensive too.
Yeah, I can just imagine though if he's him sending this in to Stan and saying, here's what I did this page. And Stan saying, what do I do with that?
Mhm.
And then the payoff.
Yeah.
My journey has ended. This plan shall sustain me until it is drained of all elemental life. So speaks Galactus. And by the way, let's celebrate a Merry Christmas too while we're at it.
Mhm. I am
And,
Santa Claus.
I bet this looks so much better in black and white
Mhm. It's
because
got it.
it's a gorgeous costume.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It looks
I'm glad they changed it to purple.
yeah, but it's such a powerful ending, right?
Mhm.
So overall, what would you say about your feelings on the first issue
It was a
of
lot of fun. It's cool. I'm looking forward to the next couple of issues.
I think this will be a good set of ones for us to do videos on.
Mhm.
Any last thoughts before I close this out?
No, just a beautiful issue. I wish
I
I
just
could see the original art. I don't think it's available anywhere, right?
I'll look for some of this. I'll see if there's any of it on Heritage, and maybe I can post it here, share it next
That'd be
time.
great. Awesome.
Yeah, I thought these. I every time I read this comic, I'm just amazed how great it is.
Mhm.
I should be used to it, but this is when Kirby's at his best. It's just the most exquisite thing.
It's wonderful. I love it.
Thanks, Amir. Looking
Thanks,
forward to talking
Jason.
more Kirby with you next time. Go King!